All right, so today let's take a deep dive into something pretty interesting.
Mm.
We're talking about Spucciolini energy taxonomy.
Yeah.
You might be thinking,
Yeah, what is that?
what is that exactly?
Right.
And, well, imagine for a second
Okay.
having more control over your energy sources
Okay.
and keeping your bills stable
Yes.
and having a say in how things are run.
I like it already.
That's what energy cooperatives in Poland are all about.
Yeah, this is really exciting stuff because we're not just talking about like rooftop solar panels.
Right.
This is about communities coming together to change how they get their energy
Exactly.
and how they use their energy.
And you've brought some fascinating material on this today.
Yes, I have.
We've got debates, we've got stories of how these cooperatives are working, and we even have some guides on how to get involved.
Yes, and one thing that's really interesting is this focus on keeping things local.
Okay.
So these cooperatives are really rooted in the communities they work in.
So let's break this down a little bit more for our listener.
Oh.
What exactly are Spucciolini energy types?
Well, you can think of them as locally owned organizations, almost like tiny energy utilities run by the community for the community.
Okay.
And they really focus on getting power from renewable sources,
Okay.
like solar or wind, even biogas.
So you're taking control away from the big energy companies and creating a more self-sufficient system.
Right. And people like that control. It gives
Yeah.
them a real stake in their energy future. And that matters on a lot of levels.
I can imagine.
We're talking finances, we're talking environment, and even like social benefits.
It seems like these cooperatives really do it all.
They really do.
So let's talk about those benefits a little more.
Okay.
From what I see, they sound like a triple threat.
Haha.
Lower bills, less impact on the environment, and they build stronger communities.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Are we seeing that in the materials?
Yeah, one of the big goals is to make sure that energy is affordable and stable for members. And the idea is that you're cutting out the middleman by generating power locally.
Right.
And that means you can get around some of the normal market prices.
Okay, but how much are we really talking here? I mean, everybody wants to save money,
Of course.
but is it really enough to make a difference?
Well, we have some really great information from Poland
Okay.
that talks about how becoming a member of a cooperative can protect you from those energy price swings we see all the time.
Well, that makes sense.
It's really about knowing what you're going to pay,
Right.
having that stability.
Yeah, because energy prices are all over the place these days.
Absolutely.
But we know it's not just about saving money.
No.
There's also the environment to think about.
Right. These cooperatives are all about renewable sources.
Yeah,
Which fits in perfectly with Poland's big sustainability goals.
for sure.
And that's where you get the community element.
Okay.
It's not just about putting in solar panels.
Right.
It's about making sure people are part of the process.
I see what you mean. People feeling like they're part of the solution.
Exactly.
And it's not just a feeling.
No.
This kind of action can actually help reduce carbon emissions and help us move to cleaner energy.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got lower costs, a green approach, but what about this community building?
Okay.
Tell me more about the social benefits that these cooperatives are bringing.
Well, at their core, these cooperatives are all about democracy and collaboration.
Okay.
Members have a voice in how the cooperative is run, what projects they take on, and how they use their resources.
It's like taking back the power and putting it right back in the hands of the people.
Exactly. And it helps to create a feeling of shared responsibility.
I like that.
It gets people working together,
Yeah.
which can have benefits beyond just energy.
That is fascinating how energy can be used to build a stronger community.
Right.
It's not really something you think about when you turn on your lights,
It's a great example of how something essential, like energy,
right?
can become something that brings people together and makes positive change.
I really am starting to see the appeal of all of this.
Yeah.
But we need to be realistic.
Okay.
Poland's energy system is complicated.
It is.
How do these Spucciolini energy systems actually fit in?
Right.
Are they really making a big impact, or are they still just a small movement?
That's a great question. And that leads us into the challenges and the opportunities that these cooperatives face in Poland. There's definitely a lot of excitement around Spucciolini Energy,
Yeah.
but in Poland, they're still pretty new. So
Yeah.
we're not seeing like hundreds of these cooperatives all over the country just yet.
So it sounds like it's still early days.
It is.
What are some of the things that are maybe slowing things down?
I think one of the big ones is just the legal stuff
Okay.
and the regulations. The system right now isn't really set up to make things easy for energy cooperatives.
You would think, with everyone talking about renewable energy and communities taking charge,
You would.
that the laws would be changing to help.
Right.
What parts are the most difficult?
Well, there's a lot of complications with connecting to the grid
Huh?
and then how members share energy
Okay.
and even just starting a cooperative in the first place.
So even if you want to do the right thing,
Right.
there's all this paperwork and bureaucracy.
Exactly. It can be really tough for people just starting out.
Makes sense. Are there other things besides the legal stuff that are making it hard for these cooperatives to grow?
Funding is a big one.
Right.
Getting a cooperative up and running takes money.
Yeah, of course you need to pay for studies equipment, all the stuff that makes it work.
It is like starting a new business.
Exactly.
And getting that money can be tough, especially for something as new as this.
So what are people doing to find funding?
Well, there are programs and grants from the EU
Okay.
that are meant to help renewable energy projects,
Mm-hmm.
but even those can be tricky.
I bet.
A lot of times you need to have special knowledge to even apply.
So you need to know how to talk the talk.
Right, and that's where organizations like Polska Zielona Sieć can really help out.
Okay, how so?
They can help cooperatives understand the funding system and put together good proposals.
So they're like a guide to help you through the process.
Exactly.
I imagine that's really helpful.
It is, and there's also growing interest in things like crowdfunding.
Oh, crowdfunding for energy projects.
Yes, specifically for energy.
I like that it seems like people would really want to support projects in their own community.
Exactly. It lets people put their money where their values are.
Yeah.
It makes it feel real.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about Poland.
We have.
But what about other countries?
Okay.
What are they doing? Are there any good examples that Poland could learn from?
There are, and one really inspiring story is from Denmark.
Okay.
It's a small fishing community
Yeah.
that managed to get 100% of its energy from renewables.
Wow, that's the dream.
It is.
Tell me more.
So this wind farm, it's called Middelgrunden,
Okay.
and it's right off the coast of Copenhagen.
Uh-huh.
And what's really amazing is that it's completely owned and run by the people who live there. Over 8,500 people.
That's amazing.
They formed a cooperative, got the money together, and built these huge wind turbines.
And those turbines power the whole town.
They power something like 40,000 homes.
40,000 homes. That's incredible.
It is.
So what was the secret to their success?
I think the biggest thing was that they really wanted to keep ownership local. They wanted to make sure that the benefits went right back to the community.
I see. So the profits from the wind farm go back into the community instead of some big company.
Exactly. They can use that money for schools, parks, anything that benefits them directly.
That's a great model, and it obviously worked for them.
It did. It's created jobs. It's made them more sustainable. And it's a real example of energy democracy.
It's amazing to think that something like energy can have such a big impact on a whole community.
It can.
But I'm sure it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Oh, of course, not every project has its challenges.
Right.
But the important thing is that they kept going.
Yeah.
They learned from their mistakes and built something truly remarkable.
And now other places can learn from them.
Exactly. And thankfully, there are organizations that help cooperatives do just that.
That's great. So they don't have to figure everything out on their own.
Exactly.
What are some of the organizations that are helping energy cooperatives in Poland?
One that stands out is ariscoop.eu.
Okay, what is that?
They're a European group,
Uh-huh.
and they help connect citizen energy cooperatives all across Europe.
So they're like a central hub for all things cooperative.
Exactly. They share knowledge and best practices and offer guidance on all sorts of things.
So they help with the legal stuff and funding.
Yes, they do. They also offer training programs and organize conferences.
Wow.
They even advocate for policies to make things easier for cooperatives.
That sounds incredibly helpful.
It really is, especially for those just getting started.
Right, because it can be overwhelming.
It can be.
So they're really building a support system.
They are. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together
I like that.
and that we're stronger when we work together.
This global view is really important
It is.
because it shows that even though the problems might be local,
Right.
we can find solutions by looking at what other people are doing.
Exactly. And by bringing those lessons back to Poland,
Yeah.
we can help Specjalnie Energetyczne grow
And create a better energy future for everyone.
for everyone.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired, but I know our listeners are probably thinking, this all sounds great,
Yeah.
but how do I actually get involved?
Right. How do we actually make this happen?
What are some things people can do right now?
That's a great question, and that's what we're going to talk about next.
Okay, so let's say I'm listening right now,
Okay.
and I'm thinking, this all sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but how do I actually start an energy cooperative in my own community?
Well, the first thing you want to do is look around your neighborhood.
Okay.
Talk to your neighbors. Talk to local businesses.
Okay.
Maybe even schools and community centers.
Right.
See if anyone else is interested in renewable energy.
So you're just trying to get a sense of the interest level.
Exactly. See if people are thinking the same way.
And what are some good questions to ask when you're talking to people?
Well, I think it's helpful to really understand their energy needs
Okay.
and their concerns.
Right.
Are they frustrated with their energy bills?
Yeah.
Are they worried about the environment?
Those are good starting points.
They are.
It helps to see if people are ready for a change.
Exactly.
And once you find some people who are interested,
Okay.
what's the next step?
Then you got to start thinking about the practical stuff.
Okay.
What kind of renewable energy sources would work in your area?
Right.
Do you get enough sun for solar panels?
Uh-huh.
Is there enough wind for wind energy?
It's like you're doing an energy assessment of your community, seeing what you have to work with.
And you also want to think about how much energy people need.
Right.
Is it mostly houses, or are there businesses that need a lot of power?
So you're building a picture of what your energy cooperative would look like.
Exactly who the members are, what they need, what resources you have.
Okay, so you've got a good idea of what you want to do.
Right.
What's next?
Then it's time to build a team.
Okay.
Find those people who are really passionate
Mm-hmm.
and are ready to put in the work to get this cooperative started.
I can imagine finding the right people is really important.
It is. You need people with all kinds of skills.
Okay.
Some who are organized, some who are good with money,
Right.
and some who are good at talking to people and spreading the word.
So it's like you're putting together a team of energy superheroes.
Haha. Yeah, exactly.
So once you have your team,
Okay.
what do you do?
It's time to create a business plan.
The business plan.
Yes. This is where you lay out your goals,
Okay.
your strategies, and your financial projections.
So you're thinking through,
Everything from start to finish.
what are some of the most important things to include in the plan?
Well, you definitely want to define your mission,
Right.
your vision, your governance structure, who your target market is, how you're going to get funding,
Right.
how you're going to operate, and how you're going to market yourselves.
It's like a blueprint for the entire cooperative.
Exactly. And it's
Right.
really important for getting funding
Right.
and for making sure you're following all the rules.
But this isn't just about the paperwork.
No, it isn't.
It's about keeping people involved,
Exactly.
making sure they understand what's happening,
Right.
and that they feel like they're part of the process.
That's what makes cooperatives so special.
It's about building a movement.
It
It's
is.
about people working together to create a better future.
For themselves and for everyone else.
And that brings us back to what we've been talking about all along.
Yeah.
The power of spółdzielni energetyki
Yes.
to change not just how we get our energy, but how we live together as a community.
It's inspiring to see what people can accomplish when they work together.
So for our listeners out there
Okay.
who are ready to take action,
Yeah.
what resources are available to help them?
Organizations like Polska Zielona CH and rscoop.eu are great places to start.
Okay.
They have tons of information that can connect you with experts,
Right.
and they can give you the tools you need to succeed.
So if you're feeling inspired,
Take that inspiration and turn it into action.
visit those websites, talk to your neighbors,
Exactly.
and remember, the future of energy is in your hands.
It really is.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of energy cooperatives.
It does.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating deep dive.